Hello everyone and welcome back to Shirley Crochets. For this tutorial we'll be making this gorgeous purse. Very nice piece there. And so you will need 2 different strands of medium weight 4 yarn. So your accent color you'll need about 230 yards and your main color about 260 yards. And then we'll be using an eye hook, which is a 5.5 millimeter hook. Stitch markers are a good idea for the circle and attaching your straps. A yarn needle, scissors, a row counter, if that's your thing. And then I used a purse latch, so I'll put the link in the description of where I got these. If you use a purse latch like the one I'm using, you'll need a small Phillips screwdriver to get those little screws out of the latch. But you can also get creative and maybe use a button or some kind of other closure method. And that'll be up to you if you want to change this area at all from what I did. But other than that, let's get started. Alright, so we are going to start off by working both strands of yarn together. So make your slip knot, or you can do a magic ring or magic circle, but for me I like to do a chain 4. So chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then join into the first stitch with a slip stitch. So either way you can do a magic ring or chain 4 and join. So from there I will chain 1 and start on row 1. So for row 1 we're going to be putting 8 single crochets into the ring. So single crochet into the middle of that ring, and if you want you can put your stitch marker on the first single crochet so you just don't get confused. So that was 1, 2, and then I'm gonna crochet over this tail as I go. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So once you crochet your 8 single crochets, you can pull your tail so that your circle closes a bit. And then we're going to slip stitch into the very first single crochet of the round. So because we're not turning our work, I'm going to slip stitch from the back. So normally you would insert your hook from the front. I'm going to insert it from the back and slip stitch it that way, just to keep it a little bit neater. And then from there you can chain 1. So we're going to work into the same spot as where we slip stitched for row 2. So for row 2 we're going to go around and put 2 single crochets in every stitch around. So we had 8 before, now we'll have 16. So I'll do my first single crochet, and then I will mark that first one with a stitch marker, and then another single crochet in the same stitch. Looks like I grabbed a piece of yarn I wasn't supposed to, but anyway, so then we'll go around by putting 2 single crochets in every stitch around, and you should have a total of 16 single crochets in this round. 15 and 16. So once you are finished with your 16 single crochets around, now we're going to slip stitch into that very first single crochet, and again I'm going to slip stitch from the back. So insert my hook from the back and then slip stitch that way. So that is row 2. And for row 3 we're going to continue by chaining 1, and for row 3 we're going to put 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the second stitch, and then repeat. So 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 and 2, and I'm going to mark my first single crochet so I don't get confused, and then 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then from there we will repeat. So 2 single crochets in the same stitch, 1 and 2, and 1 single crochet in the next, 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and 1 single crochet in the next. So you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around, and you should have a total of 24 single crochets. 22, 23, and 24. So once you are finished with your 24 single crochets for that round, we're going to slip stitch into that very first single crochet. So I'm going to slip stitch from the back, and that is row 3. So for row 4 we will chain 1, and row 4 we are going to be doing 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So in the same place that we put the slip stitch, we're going to put 2 single crochets in that stitch. So 1, mark my first one, 1 and 2, and then we're going to put 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 in the first one and 1 in the next one, and then we will repeat that. So 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so repeat 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around, and for this row, for this round, you should have 32 single crochets. 29, 30, 31, and 32. And then once you're done making your 32 single crochets, we will again slip stitch into the first single crochet of the round, and that is row 4. For row 5 is similar, so we will chain 1, and then we'll put 2 single crochets in the first stitch, so 1 and 2, and then we'll put 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, so 1 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 in the third, and then we will repeat. So 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. So you're going to continue repeating that pattern, and for this round you should have 40 single crochets. Alright, so once you're done with your 40 single crochets of that round, we're just going to again slip stitch into that first single crochet. And for row 6, we're going to chain 1 and start on our next pattern, which is 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. My apologies. So 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we will repeat. So 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1, 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you're going to continue repeating that pattern. At the end of this row, you should have 48 single crochets. Alright, so once you have your 48 stitches, we're just going to slip stitch in that first single crochet, and start on row 7. So for row 7, we're going to chain 1, and then 2 single crochets in the first stitch, so 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then repeat. So 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you're going to continue repeating that pattern all the way around, and then at the end of this round you should have 56 single crochets. Okay, so once you finish your 56 single crochets for this round, we're just going to slip stitch again into that very first single crochet, and then chain 1. So for row 8, we're going to do the similar thing by putting 2 single crochets in the next stitch, in that first stitch. So 1 and 2. And then we'll be putting 1 single crochet in the next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then repeat. 2 single crochets in that first stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next 6 stitches. One, 2, that is so annoying. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you're going to continue that pattern all the way around, and at the end of this round you should have 64 single crochets. Alright, so once you finish, we're going to again just slip stitch into that very first single crochet of the round. And then from here we're going to choose which color is going to be our main color and which one is the accent color. So for your accent color, you're going to chain one with both of them, but with your color that you don't want on the border, that one we're going to fasten off. So you chain one, cut your secondary color, and just pull that color through. Just pull it through. It's like a regular fasten off for that color. And then we're going to do a border around this circle with the main color that we want to have on the border. So we already chained one, so what we're going to do is just go around and put one single crochet in every stitch across. And you can crochet over this tail as you go. So let me fix that. So yeah, one single crochet in every stitch around, and you should have 64 single crochets when you're done with this round. So once you make your way all the way around, we're going to slip stitch into that very first single crochet of the round, and you should just make sure that you have 64 single crochets around the border of this circle. From there, and then from there we're just going to chain one and fasten off. Okay, so you're going to repeat rows 1 through 9 to make a second circle. So after you make your second circle, we're going to start on the sides of the purse. So let's put these aside and grab our 2 strands of yarn again. Make a slip knot. And then chain out 17 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 16, and 17. So once you have your chain, we're going to skip that first chain and then single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then you should put 1 single crochet in every chain across until we reach the end. So you should have 16 single crochets total. Alright, once you're done with your 16 single crochets, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work, and then we're going to do back loop only single crochets across. So we normally go through both loops. We're going to go through this back loop only here, and it just gives us a little bit more texture. So single crochet in the back loop only of that first stitch, and then repeat that across. So just put 1 single crochet, 1 back loop only single crochet in every stitch across. Alright, so once you have 1 single crochet in every, 1 back loop only single crochet in every stitch across, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work, and just repeat row 2, that last row we did. So just put 1 back loop only single crochet in every stitch across until we reach the end of the row. So once you finish row 3, you're just going to continue repeating row 2. So continue doing 1 back loop only single crochet in every stitch across until you complete row 40. Alright, so once you are finished, this is what it should look like when you're done with row 40. So from there we're going to again fasten off our secondary color. So we will chain 1 and just cut the secondary color and pull it through. So I'm going to pull that one through to fasten it off. Oops. There we go. So once you have that one fastened off, we already chained one. So now we're going to start on the border. So we'll start off by putting 2 single crochets in this last stitch that we just made, which I'm going to call the corner stitch. So it's a little awkward at first because we didn't turn, but go ahead and put 2 single crochets in that last stitch that we made, and then we're going to turn to work across the sides of rows. So on the sides of rows, we're going to put 1 single crochet in the side of every row. So you can divide the rows by these ridges here, and inside the ridge is 2 rows. So 2 rows or 2 single crochets inside of this little ridge would be 2 rows. So just go ahead and put 1 single crochet on the side of every row, and you should have 40 single crochets, not counting the first 2 we made, and I will meet you. So once you're done lining this side with the 40 single crochets, we're going to turn to work along the foundation chain, and we're going to put 3 single crochets in that first chain, and we'll be putting 3 single crochets in every corner. So 1, 2, and 3. And then from there we'll put 1 single crochet in every chain across. So across this middle you should have 14 single crochets, so keep going until you have the last chain left. So it should be 14 in the middle. 1, 13, and 14. So once you have the 1 stitch left, we'll put 3 single crochets into that corner stitch there, or that corner chain. So 1, 2, and 3. So once you get your 3 single crochets in the corner, we will turn to work along the sides of rows again. So here you will be putting 1 single crochet in the side of every row. You should have 40 single crochets on that side. And then when you get to the next corner, in this corner stitch, the first stitch at the top, you'll put 3 single crochets in there, and then continue across, and I will meet you there. So once you're done with your 14 single crochets and you've made your way all the way around, you finish that top part. Now we have this last single crochet, which already has 2 single crochets in it, and we do want to put 3 single crochets in every corner. So just add 1 more single crochet to that first stitch that already had 2 single crochets, and then slip stitch into that very first single crochet of the round. And that is what it looks like now. Alright, so we're going to continue with our working yarn, and now we will grab one of our circles, and we will be working on the outside of the purse to attach this side panel to the circle. Okay, so you want the wrong sides to face each other, and you can tell the border is the right side, or the outside of the purse. And you also might want to position this so that you can crochet over this tail. So let's put the wrong sides together, and I'm going to put the tail like a couple of stitches down, but let's put the wrong side together and then chain 1 here. And so what we want to do is we want to put 1 single crochet in the side panel and 1 single crochet in the circle. So I'm going to insert my hook into the very corner stitch, which is the same stitch that we slip stitched into, and then insert my hook into one stitch of the circle. Pull up a loop and single crochet. And you should still be working on the next corner stitch. So we worked into that very first corner stitch, and this is the second one, the second stitch that we made. So we're going to insert our hook into that one and insert our hook into the next stitch of the circle. And from there it should be easy, so we're just going to match one for one, putting a single crochet in the side panel and a single crochet in the circle. And you're going to make your way all the way around until your second stitch out of the 3 in this corner has a single crochet attached to your circle. Okay, so this is what it should look like once you are done and you have it all connected to the first circle. So try to make sure you went into the corner stitch, the middle stitch of the 3 that were in the corner. I know black is hard to see, but I'm just going to try to explain that part to you. And so from there, we are going to put one single crochet in every stitch across until that middle of the 3 corner stitches. So we're going to go across the side panel here by putting one single crochet in the next 16 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 15, and 16. So then you should be at that corner stitch out of the 3. And so what we're going to do is grab our next circle. And so you'll want to place this tail pretty close, not exactly up here, but pretty close, so you can crochet over that tail as you go. So now we're going to crochet the second circle. So insert your hook into that corner stitch and insert it into a stitch on the next circle with the wrong sides together. Make sure your right side is facing outward. Pull up a loop and single crochet, and then from there we will put one single crochet in every stitch across until we hit that next corner stitch. So that next middle stitch out of the 3 at the end of this side panel should have a single crochet attached to your next circle. So this is what it looks like now once you crochet your second circle to your panel. And once you have both circles attached, we are going to chain 1. And then we're going to put a single crochet in the same corner stitch that we just attached with the circle. So a single crochet in that same corner stitch, and then one single crochet in every stitch across until that next corner stitch, which we also worked in already, the next corner stitch of the side panel should have a single crochet. And once you make your way across, just make sure you have an even number here so you can force a stitch if you need to correct anything. And also pay attention to how many stitches you have on this side, because we're going all the way around and you want to have the same amount on this side. So what we're going to do is just jump right into the next side of the circle and put one single crochet in every stitch across the circle until we reach the next side of the side panel. And once you reach your second side panel, we're going to do the same thing across. So just make sure that you are matching how many single crochets you did on the first side. So for me, I had 18, so I'm just going to ensure that I have 18 on this side. So once you make your way all the way across and make sure you have the same amount as the other side, we're just going to go right into the circle and put one single crochet on the top of every stitch until we get back to the beginning. Okay, so once you are finished lining the top of that circle, just find that very first stitch that we made, the very first single crochet, and slip stitch. Okay, from there we will chain one and fasten off. And that's what it looks like now. So for now we're going to put our purse to the side and start on the purse flap. So we're going to grab 2 strands of our yarn, both strands, make a slip knot, and then chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. From there we are going to double crochet in the second chain, in the third chain from the hook, sorry. So skip these first 2 chains and double crochet in that third chain from the hook. And just for me, I'm going to mark this chain 2 space here because we're going to be working into that chain 2 space. But for row 1, we'll just be putting 1 double crochet in every stitch across, so you should have a total of 8 double crochets. So it's 3 and 8. Okay, so that is what row 1 of the strap or of the flap looks like. So from here we will chain 1 and turn our work. So for row 2 we're going to put 1 double crochet in every stitch across. So once you have 8 double crochets, 1 double crochet on every stitch across, we're going to turn and work into this chain 2 space. So in the chain 2 space, we're going to put 5 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, once you have your 5 double crochets in that chain 2 space, you're going to mark that middle stitch. So 1, 2, 3, the third one we're going to mark because that will be our middle stitch going forward. And then we'll turn to work along the foundation chain. So on the foundation chain, you'll just want to make sure that you have 8 double crochets on this foundation chain to match the other side. So 1, 2, 7, and 8. So that is what row 2 looks like. So that is what row 2 looks like. For row 3, we will chain 1 and turn our work. And then we're going to put 1 double crochet in every stitch across until we reach that middle stitch out of the 5. So once you reach that middle stitch, we're going to again put 5 double crochets in that middle stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to remark my middle stitch so I don't get confused. And then after that, we'll just be putting 1 double crochet in every stitch across until the end of the row. And you might want to make sure that you have the same amount on both sides of the middle. And that is what row 3 looks like once you're done with row 3. So we're going to repeat row 3, chain 1 and turn, and then 1 double crochet in every stitch across until you reach your middle stitch, 5 double crochets in that middle stitch, and then 1 double crochet in every stitch across until the end of the row. So you're going to repeat row 3 until you finish row 6. So this is what row 6 looks like. It's kind of got a curvature, kind of like a bra cup. So from there, for row 7, we will chain 1 and turn our work. And we're going to do a similar row. So it's 1 double crochet in every stitch across until we reach the middle stitch. So go ahead and do that, and I will meet you there. And once you reach that middle stitch, I'm going to remove my stitch marker. So once you reach your middle stitch, we are going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and skip 1. So skip that middle stitch, and then 1 double crochet in every stitch across until we reach the end. So skip that 1, and then we'll just continue. And that chain 4 is where this will fit into. You might have to even stretch it out a little bit, but you want it to be more tight than it is loose. So go ahead and put 1 double crochet in every stitch around until the end of the row. And this is what it looks like once you finish row 7. So you'll have this little loop here, and like I said in the beginning, if you don't have the purse latch that I'm using, maybe a large button or something like that you could use to secure your purse flap. So let's continue. So now we will chain 1 and fasten off our accent color. So fasten that one off, and then we will crochet over that tail as we go. And then we will turn our work, and now we're going to put a border around the purse flap. So we're just going to be putting 1 single crochet in every stitch across until we reach that chain, until we reach this chain 4 space. So I will meet you there. And once you reach your chain 4 space, we're just going to put 4 single crochets into that space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then from there we're just going to continue by putting 1 single crochet in every stitch across. Alright, so once you have 1 stitch left, we're going to put 3 single crochets into that last stitch. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to turn to work along the sides of these rows. So in the sides of these rows, they're double crochet height. So we're going to put 2 single crochets in the side of every double crochet row. So 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So go ahead and put 1 or 2 single crochets in the side of every double crochet row, and I'll meet you at the end of the sides of the rows. And once you finish lining this with 2 single crochets in the side of every row, we're going to find this corner stitch and put 2 more single crochets into that very first stitch that we started with. and then slip stitch into that single crochet. So that is what your purse flap looks like. It doesn't lay flat, but it's going to curve around like that. So that's why it's kind of making that weird shape. So now at this point you can fasten off your color here, and we will start on the straps. Also feel free to clean up any tails that you have. Okay, so in order to do our strap, we're going to grab our purse and look at one of these sides here. So you're going to count out your middle 8 stitches, and once you find your middle 8 stitches, we're going to reattach our yarn to the first one out of the 8. So take both strands and you can reattach with a double knot or a slip knot, however you like. And be sure to crochet over your tail. Alright, so let's start on the strap. So to do the strap, we're going to pull up a loop and chain 1, and then from there we'll be putting 1 single crochet in every stitch across, just for these 8 stitches. So 1, 2, and 8. Okay, so that's row 1 of the strap. For row 2, we will chain 1 and turn our work, and we're going to do back loop only single crochets, kind of like we did for that side panel. So 1 back loop only single crochet in every stitch across. And then chain 1 and turn your work, and we'll repeat row 2. So 1 back loop only single crochet in every stitch across. So we're going to be repeating row 2 until you complete row 56. So go ahead and continue repeating row 2, and I'll meet you there. So this is what it looks like once you finish your 56 rows. So from here we're going to chain 1 and fasten off our non-dominant color. So pull that through. Okay. So now we're going to crochet the other side of the strap to the middle 8 stitches on the other side. So you'll want to have the right sides facing each other. So this is the inside of my purse strap and this is the outside. So we want to configure it that way, but we're going to crochet from the inside. So let's put the right sides facing each other that way. And I'm gonna have to drag my ball of yarn through. Okay. So you just want to make sure that you have the 2 right sides facing each other when you're doing this. So all we're gonna do is match 1 for 1. You can do single crochets or slip stitches. I'm gonna do single crochets just so I can crochet over this tail. So just crochet 1 stitch to 1 stitch. So that's what it looks like now. Just looks like that. All right, so once you have that sewn or crocheted across, now we're going to crochet the strap together to itself. So you're going to fold the strap like that, and then you'll kind of be crocheting there on the inside. So let's continue with our working yarn and lay our purse flat. I'm going to just smash it down like that. And then lay my strap flat. Find my loop, my working yarn, and we're just going to be crocheting the side of this row to the side of the same row on the other side. So we'll be putting one single crochet in the side of every row of both sides of the strap. Single crochet. And because we have 56 rows, you should have 56 single crochets along the side of the strap. So that is how it looks. So you're going to make your way all the way around, single crocheting until you have reached the last row on the other side. All right, so once you make your way all the way around to the other side, you can kind of just get the base here, get that base stitch that both sides of where the straps are coming out of, and single crochet in that stitch as well. And this is what it looks like now. So it's a nice thick strap. So now we're going to crochet the flap of the purse to the back side of the purse. So you can continue with this working yarn if you like. So just make sure you have the right side of the flap facing the outside of the purse. So we'll be crocheting on the inside of both. Okay, you'll also want to count how many stitches you have here if you need to cheat. I have 36 here and I have 30 here. So I'm gonna have to cheat a few stitches. I can't match them one for one. I'm gonna have to cheat 6 stitches, which is fine. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to insert my hook into that corner stitch of the flap and insert my hook into my working yarn loop and chain 1. And I'm going to start skipping stitches as I go, but you'll predominantly be matching these stitches one for one, but I'm going to do 3 like cheat stitches on this side since I have 36. So I'm going to go right back into that same stitch that I worked in the flap because it has less stitches, and then go into a new stitch on the back of the purse. So I have to do that 6 times. So I'm going to do it 3 times on this side and 3 times on that side. But other than that, it's self-explanatory. We're just putting a single crochet in both sides until we reach the end of the row, or until we reach the end of the seam. Okay, so once you make your way all the way across, I think I have 1 stitch left. So once you make your way all the way across here, you're gonna just want to slip stitch into kind of like the base of the strap just to make it look a little bit neater. and then you can chain one and fasten off. So I'm just gonna take a moment to clean up some of my tails. So that is what the flap looks like once it's on there. Alright, so I've cleaned up all my tails and we're ready to work on our purse latch. So there should be 3 parts to your purse latch. You have the back of this part of the latch, and then you have this piece. So this part goes on the actual purse, and this goes on the inside of the purse, and this piece is the tricky piece to me, and it goes into the hole that we made into the flap. So grab your Phillips screwdriver if you have the same latch as me. And let's open this up. So we're going to take these 2 screws out and open this up. So this is kind of the tricky part. So once you have this open, you'll want to find your flaps. Let me get a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so grab one of your screws, not the other, just one of the screws, and place it inside of the back piece. And then you're going to grab 1 strand of yarn. You might want to stretch this out just a little bit. I don't want it to be too tight or too big of a hole. So you're going to grab 1 strand of the yarn and kind of separate it from, I don't know if you can really see that, separate it from its stitch, and we're going to place that strand around the screw. And we're going to take the front, so that's on the inside. You're going to take the front piece and kind of put it on top where the screw goes. And just gently, not all the way tight because you have another side to do. So you just want to gently tighten it, not too much. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side, which is a little bit harder to say the least. So this isn't the easiest thing to do, but once you kind of get the hang of it, you'll get it. So take a strand of the yarn and kind of pull it outward. Get your second screw, put it in the back. It's this way. Put it in the back. And try to get that yarn around that screw. And this hole is like not super duper loose. So try to get that yarn around that screw. Here's my screw. So the second one is going to be a little bit tighter to deal with. And then you want to match that hole to the front. And then tighten that side if you can. I might be on the yarn. So yeah, if you're on the yarn, it won't close. So you have to have the yarn go around that. So it's a little tricky, but it's not too hard. And then you have to make sure that that hole is in where the screw is. And go on ahead and tighten that. Tighten both sides. And it's not too bad. Okay. So once you have that, you can kind of see where you want to place your latch, the other side of your latch. Where do you want your flap to stop and start? Where do you like it to be? So let's zoom back out a little bit. where do you want this to close? Do you want it to close lower, higher? I kind of like it a little bit low, like that, so I can kind of gauge where do I want this to sit. So you kind of open these two prongs and play with where you want it to sit. And you can kind of use this center here of the circle to make sure you're not, you know, off. And this one is a lot easier. So once you put it where you want it, you get your back and you simply just close both of these prongs down. And you can use pliers. You can gently do it because you might need to move it if you think it's off at all. But that is how you do your latch. So it wasn't too bad. But thank you all so much for watching. This was such a fun project for me. It's my very first purse, so I really hope you enjoyed it. And please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!